Welcome to the Swirl to Investment News Network. News by and for the Swirl to Investment community. Hope you enjoy. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the new program, the Swirl to Investment News Network. This is where I cover stories that pertain to the swirling to investment community. Okay. The first one I did. This is actually the second program. The first one I did was with Officer Ariana Preston, the one that was deleted by four, dusty teens that took her out for no reason. And this story tonight, okay, this happened last week, okay, and this was another successful black woman, had her whole life ahead of her, beautiful, highly educated, successful, um, everything, the sky's the limit. Her whole life is ahead of her, real young also, deleted by one of these beta dusties, okay? And this happened in Detroit. I don't know if you guys have seen this story. And I'm going to cover more of these stories, okay? Because something's happening and a lot of black women are being deleted, unalived by dusty men, you know? And I don't know what it is, if it's jealousy, rage, or just they can't compete with the women. It could be a very, so many things, right? And this is such a tragedy, and I look at black women as such a blessing, as like our national treasure. Beautiful, successful women that are overcoming, adapting and overcoming the odds and leading the way when it comes to women, just to be deleted by dusty men that just can't compete or, can't let go. Okay. But anyway, let me go ahead and show you this. And for copyright purposes, I'm going to have to break it down as I go. We're going to be using these videos for educational purposes, for news reporting, and for commentary, for opinion. Okay. Without further ado, let me roll the clip here.
Family looking for answers after their loved one was found dead in the trunk of her car.
Please, find them. Don't let them get away with this. She didn't deserve it.
A manhunt is underway tonight to find this man in connection to her kidnapping.
It's a tragic Mother's Day for the family of 29-year-old Patrice Wilson. Thanks for joining us. I'm Will Jones.
And I'm Priya Mann, in for Pamela Osborne. After Patrice Wilson's shift Saturday morning, police say Jameer Miller approached her as she was getting into her SUV, forced her over, and fled with her inside. Police discovered Wilson's body last night in the parking lot of her Novi apartment complex. Her family still has so many questions. The biggest one, why has he not been found?
Okay. All right. What's going on here? Okay. This beautiful young lady, she's a nurse. Okay. And after her shift, she was kidnapped by her ex-boyfriend. Okay. Allegedly. And was kidnapped. And I don't know what he did to her, but he unalived her. I don't know what happened before then. And At this time, this was last week, they were on a manhunt looking for the suspect, her ex-boyfriend. And they had some camera footage, and they're just showing you the map where the nurse's body was found and where she was kidnapped and stuff. But let me go ahead and continue.
Megan Wood spoke with them about what these nearly 36 hours have been like.
Her son cannot hold her and say Happy Mother's Day to her today. That bothers me.
And Patrice's mom, Rosalind Livingston, wants it to bother you too, so much that you help them find Jamir Miller. Police consider him armed and dangerous.
Okay. You see that? This is her, Patrice Wilson. Okay. Say her name, Patrice Wilson. And this is her ex-boyfriend, the one that allegedly kidnapped her. Okay. At this time, they were looking for him. He was a leading suspect. And anyway, you've seen her mother and grandmother grieving, hearts broken. Okay. A mother lost a child, a grandmother lost a granddaughter. This is something nobody should have to deal with. And you've seen her graduation picture. She's a nurse. She's educated, very beautiful, has her whole life ahead of her. But because this dusty beta, piece of trash, couldn't let go, or the relationship didn't work, or whatever, and decides to unalive her. Okay? There is no reason why anybody should be unalive. Okay? Your relationship don't work. Hey, things happen. But anyway, let's continue.
Rosalind says the two used to date.
She dated him for a while, and she been trying to get away from him because she know he was toxic for her. I've been told him.
Okay, right here again. He was toxic. She was trying to get away. Does this sound familiar? Okay. She's starting to feel a bad vibe in the relationship. I'm sure that's what happened. He's toxic. She's trying to get away. Her mother knows it. Grandmother knows it. Okay. And there's times you run into toxic people. There's a lot of evil in this world. But she was not able to get away. Or she did, but then he found her and unalived her. Sad story. See these two ladies here, heartbroken, and she has a son that didn't get to spend Mother's Day with his mother because of this dusty dude, right? That couldn't let go. So selfish, he had to take her life.
A mother knows.
She even shared with us this viral video of what's believed to be Jamir outside of Patrice's home in 2021.
You breaking in my house, Jamir?
Now, as a
All right, you see that? Let me run that back.
video of what's believed to be Jamir outside of Patrice's home in 2021.
You breaking in my house, Jamir?
Now.
Okay, you see that? He was messing with her at her house, and she says, "You're trying to break in, Jamir?" So his name's Jamir. All right, Jamir was trying to break in, it looked like. A lot of times when you get into a toxic relationship, there's a lot of red flags. There's stuff that happens that just don't feel right. Okay? And why is he at her house? Are they having a fight within their relationship? Is he trying to force his way in? Was he going to unalive her that night? Who knows? But just look at the mother grieving. This is something a mother should never have to go through.
As a mother who had to see her daughter at the morgue today, she says,
Yeah, I can't say the perpetrator name because you took the life out of her. And I seen it today.
she tries to think of happier times.
She was even thinking about going back to school. And I was like, oh, what you gonna be, an anesthesiologist nurse? You gonna be making that money, girl.
But then,
Okay, just look at her. Such a tragedy, right? She's a nurse, going to go back to school to get further her education and move up the corporate ladder, move up the medical field. You know, but her life was taken. She was unalive, centimeter maker, way too soon. Very young, beautiful, successful. So sad.
It hits that she's gone. Patrice's grandmother, Pamela Golden, can't make sense of it.
She knew what she wanted to do, how she wanted to do. She was a good girl. She didn't deserve this. She definitely didn't deserve this.
Someone knows something. They're sure of it.
I need the streets to talk. We need to find the person who...
Right there, there's your Beta King dust. For what reason unalive this young lady? Why? Because she turned you down? Because the relationship didn't work, so you got to take a life? Isn't there other women out there in this world? I get it. She's beautiful, successful, right? That would break your heart, be a loss, right? But you move on. But now, not only you took her life, you took everything that was good to her family. You took a loved one out of her family. Her mother, her grandmother's grieving, her son's grieving, and many more of her family members. And she had it all. I see so many of these black women out there on news reports, unalived because some relationship didn't work because of some beta that got his feelings hurt and is all butt hurt out there and feels that he has the right to take her life. And what's it going, out of all the heartbreak that the family had to endure, what is this joker going to get out of it? I think he needs to sit on a chair with electricity. That's what I think. You take a life, you should forfeit yours. So sad. But he'll be checked into a crossbar hotel, and but it's sad. This should never happen. No matter how much your heart is broken. And I don't know what happened in the relationship. I'm just assuming it went bad because it was her ex-boyfriend, okay? Not current, ex. So he was probably jealous. He was probably had his feelings hurt and felt that if he couldn't have her, nobody else can. You've heard, desperate pleas from guys that do that, right? Let's continue.
Kill Patrice so she can have some justice.
If you have any information, you're asked to call 1-800-CRIME-STOPPERS or Detroit Police Department. In Detroit, Megan Woods, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Megan. Again, take a look at your screen. Police are also looking for 36-year-old Jameer Miller. Investigators are looking for a black 2020 Lincoln Nautilus with Michigan license plate number OPK-S20. Anyone with information is asked to call police right away or submit tips anonymously through Crime Stoppers at 1-800-SPEAK-UP.
Meantime, Detroit Medical Center released a statement tonight. It reads, "It is with deep sadness that we offer heartfelt condolences to the family, friends, and DMC colleagues of cherished nurse leader Patrice Wilson, as well as Patrice's mother, another dedicated DMC team member. Patrice was not just a coworker, but a loving friend to many at the DMC. Grief counseling is available for all staff at our adult Central Campus hospitals."
Okay, and there it is. Okay. This is about a week old, but this case here, a young black woman, just kind of similar to the black woman police officer that was unalived, Ariana Preston. I remember her name. and then Patrice Wilson, Patrice Wilson in the medical field, a nurse, going to get more education to move up, to be more successful. Both the women were beautiful. Both the women were educated. Both of the women were highly successful. Life snatched out way too soon. But do you remember her name? Patrice Wilson? Will there be a golden casket? Will her family be millionaires? Will there be a protest out in the street? Or is just Detroit local news the only ones covering this? I think that's what's happening. And shout out to Detroit News 4 for putting that story together, reporting the news. I got one more news clipping on this case I'm going to show you guys.
Now to new developments on two fronts for the suspect accused of kidnapping and then killing a Detroit nurse.
First, Jameer Miller appeared today in a Garden City courtroom to be arraigned on separate charges. Then we learned the Wayne County prosecutor has received the warrant request in the death of Patrice Wilson. Let's get to Megan Woods. Megan, there's still a long way to go in this case.
Kimberly, a long way to go.
Okay, so they've captured him by this time, right? And this was a few days later. They caught up to him. They got him. He's been arraigned. He's going to be charged. Okay. And, he turned himself in, negotiated with his attorney to turn himself in. And this is just the case as it's unraveling.
Prosecutor's office says they are reviewing this case, but they are not expecting to make any type of decision on charges this week. In the meantime, you have Jameer Miller, who is now facing 14 new charges in connection to a completely different case. And so now the question is, how does this connect to this murder and kidnapping investigation? This morning in 21st District Court, Jameer Miller was arraigned on 14 weapon and drug charges in a case handled by Michigan State Police in Taylor. While details regarding the incident are limited, we know it happened February 23rd of this year. And today, Miller was given a $1 million bond. We asked defense attorney Neil Rockkind how this could affect Miller's alleged involvement in the murder and kidnapping of his ex-girlfriend, Patrice Wilson.
Okay, so now, not only is he a suspect in the case with Patrice Wilson, right? But he's also has a lot of other criminal activity. So this guy guy's a real winner, is he not? A criminal doing horrible things and then unalives his ex-girlfriend. And she probably caught wind of the stuff he was doing and probably wanted to get away, which she should, right? That's a toxic environment. And, in today's world, when you're dating, you got to be careful, ladies. Too many young Black women are being unalived that have their whole lives ahead. And you know what's similar to the other case I did? Both the women are successful. They got good jobs. They're highly educated and moving up. Now, I just wonder if the betas that unalived women like Patrice Wilson, I wonder if the men that unalive women like Patrice Wilson, I wonder if these betas are jealous. I wonder if they even have any education. I wonder if they got a job. I wonder if they're just jealous of her because she's far more successful. And I believe a lot of these cases, and this is just my opinion, I think if women would date and be with men at their economic level, I think this would happen a lot less. Okay? Not saying that successful rich men can't do this either. Okay? Wealthy people do this. All races of men do this, okay? Because I know the beta is going to say, well, I know there's white men that do the same thing and white men do. Yeah, you're right. There are evil white men that do this. But look at the stats. Look at the numbers, okay? You want to know the truth? Research. And don't go by a raw number because there's millions more white people than black people and say, oh, yeah, most of them do it. Do the percentages. And any man that does this is garbage and needs that plug-in chair, if you know what I mean. Okay? Because this should never happen. Okay? Too many young, successful black women this is happening to. And I think when you date, you be with the man at your own level. Okay? Regardless of the race. Seriously. Okay? Because a lot of times when women outdo men, men feel emasculated and all this stuff, and they don't feel like a man, right? That don't give them an excuse to unalive somebody, okay? But what I'm saying is be strategic when you date, okay? I don't know why she dated this guy. I don't know the story, okay? But all I know is she's been unalived and she's not here to this day. And she has a mother and grandmother and a son that I know of that are very heartbroken, devastated. Let's continue.
It can trace the guns or ammunition from those cases, can all help police and prosecutors lead to other leads and other potential cases.
This all comes days after a manhunt for Miller in connection to the kidnapping and murder of his ex-girlfriend, Patrice Wilson. Wilson, a nurse at Detroit Receiving Hospital, was heading to her car after a shift around 7:40 Saturday morning.
Yeah. Look, she's taking a selfie there. She's beautiful. Got her whole life ahead of her, and some dusty idiot takes her out. So sad. Very young, too.
Police say Miller was allegedly disguised wearing a blonde wig and forced her into her car and drove away. Later that night, Patrice was found dead in her SUV parked in her Novi apartment complex. Miller turned himself in the next afternoon. Wayne County Prosecutor's Office is reviewing the case but say charging decisions are not expected to come this week.
The prosecutors have in many cases have to make a relatively quick decision because they believe there's a dangerous person who needs to be off the street. In this case, they have the luxury, we'll say, of not having to rush into that decision.
And as soon as the prosecutor's office...
Okay, hold on. I want to go back here. And he's talking about the prosecuting attorney, right? Okay. They have a decision to make. And a lot of times these attorneys are pushed in to make a decision because they don't want a guy like that on the streets while he's being charged. And I think his bail was $1 million. I'm sure that Dusty don't have that money. But if somehow he got it, you wouldn't want him on the streets. So they want to hurry. They want to charge him, right? They want him to be, in custody. Away from innocent people, But anyway, he's just explaining it. And look, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert, but that's what I got out of what he's saying. They want to charge him. And there's so many charges. I mean, gosh, they got a list. And even before this case, a lot of criminal activity. So he's probably, who knows, he might have even had a warrant out for his arrest with all the stuff he's got going on, while he attacked her, So anyway, let's continue.
Be off the street. In this case, they have the luxury, we'll say, of not having to rush into that decision.
And as soon as the prosecutor's office delivered those charges, we will let you know. Reporting live in Wayne County, I'm Megan Woods, Local 4.
Yeah, lot to go.
Okay. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Another young, successful, beautiful black woman is unalived by a dusty piece of garbage. And why? I mean, is it? Yeah, I just can't. But it's just a waste. Her whole life ahead of her, and she did nothing wrong. You know, when you break up with somebody, does that mean you have to forfeit your life because they're heartbroken or jealous or whatever? I mean, I'm just trying to analyze this because look, we've all been rejected. We've had our hearts broken, but we do not harm young ladies that are no longer interested in us as men, or we shouldn't, whether they're right or wrong in what they did. But somehow he felt the need to unalive her. And will we remember her name? Patrice Wilson. Will the media run this story? Will she get the coverage that George Floyd got? Okay. Will she? Will we riot in the streets for this? How many people even know this story? I came across it because I was looking at news stories, and Detroit News 4 put this out here. And there's other news networks, you know, in Detroit covering this, but this seems like a local thing that's only being covered. What if she was, I don't know. I'm not even going to go there, but seriously, this is sad. This is disgusting. And this should never happen. And what is the femicide rate? 4.5 a minute or something? Way too much. And I'm seeing these young black women that have so much going for them. They've been so successful and they're beautiful. It's like these are high quality, high value women. What man would not want to be with a woman that's beautiful, successful? I'm just, wow. But anyway, let me pull that down. But my thing today, and I'm going to show more of these stories. Okay. I'm going to be doing this news channel. Okay. I'm not just going to cover homicides. Okay. I will cover other news stories. I will cover maybe a little bit of politics. I don't really want to get into that too much because I don't want, you know, politics and religion is something that really stirs people up. So, but I will cover that stuff. But this should never happen. I mean, and the sad thing is there were warning signs. Her mother, her grandmother knew. She knew. She got away. But still, she was unalived. And what is it? Is it jealousy? Is it you just get in such a rage you feel like unaliving people? Where's her father? Well, I don't know. We just seen their mother and grandmother. Maybe I don't know. But maybe father there could have give her advice in dating. And I think I look, when young girls become women, it's critical that us as men, as fathers, talk to our daughters and let them know what these men that are out there to be careful of, what to watch out for, how they manipulate, how they exploit women. Okay? Because we're men, right? We've been around men, good men, bad men, evil men. We've seen them play their game, right? Of course, you need a father in there to explain to his daughters. Now, the mother teaches her how to be a woman, right? But us as fathers, we got to teach our daughters the kind of men that they need to stay away from and the kind that they should be around. Okay? Maybe this would eliminate a lot of stuff. But I tell you, ladies, be with men at your economic level. And I know people are going to say, well, what if he's a good guy but works hard? He drives a bus and you're in the medical field. Okay? And I don't want to beat up the bus driver thing because that rhetoric has been going all over YouTube. Still talking about that bus driver thing. Okay? And the thing of it is, ladies have a right to have a standard. I don't care if she grew up in Beverly Hills or in the hood. If her standard is a man that's successful, has a good career, and has wealth, that's her right to have that. And especially women that are highly successful, that have made it, they should never have to date or marry down. And us as men need to get over this crap. If you don't qualify to be with that woman, you just don't qualify. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough. And I hate to tell you guys, if you're a bus driver, and nothing against bus drivers, you're working, that's good. You're contributing to society, that's good. And God bless you for it. But if she's higher than you in education and economics, and she don't want to date you, that's her God-given right. And you as a man don't want that, believe me. You want a woman at your level, or she can be at a lower level economically. Us as men, we can date and marry down. And a lot of times it's good for us to do that because we can protect, we can provide, we can move up the ladder with our wives, right? It works better that way. Seriously, it does. Women should never feel guilty about their standards. And it's not our right to decide. And I know I'm going into dating, but look, I think a lot of these cases come from women that are more successful, making things happen, more education, dating men that don't have as much. Okay? Now, most men aren't going to unalive women because, they get their feelings hurt. But it's happening way too often. And I'm telling you, when I do this news show, I'm going to have plenty of stories just like this. And it's sad to talk about it. It's sad to cover it. But it needs to be covered. Who is speaking up for Black women that are unalived? Detroit News 4 did, right? They did the story. But is it only they did it because they're in Detroit? What about in Los Angeles? Are they covering that story? What about New York? What about in Idaho? What about CNN? Are they covering this? What about Fox News? What about MSNBC? Are they covering it? Is there outrage? Is this story going to make them money? Is it going to stir emotions? Are we going to take to the streets and say enough is enough? Or is the perpetrator the wrong color and not a police officer? Is that what it takes for us to riot? Does it have to be a white man police officer taking out a black man for us to go crazy? And I'm not saying don't cover those stories, but come on. There's so many black women being unalived and we say nothing. The local news covers it. Yeah, well, that's in their backyard. That's in their town. It happened in Detroit, so Detroit covers it. Makes sense. What about the national news? It happened in our country. Another black woman unalived. Another woman that's successful, doing great things, unalived for a Dusty that can't get out of his feelings. And I don't care about what happened in the relationship, whether you treated her bad or even if she cheated on him. She does not deserve to lose her life. New York too busy covering city bike Karen stories. Yeah, probably. Yeah, maybe if she was an angry Karen, maybe we'd cover it more. Look, I don't even understand. Where's the outrage? How many people are going to cover this story? And I would say all YouTube content creators, take this story I looked up, look it up, do your reaction on it. Spread the word. Do stories about black women. I'm telling everybody to do it. Because if more of us do these type of stories and we do reactions on this and we talk about it, and the race or wherever she's from should not matter. Black women are the most unprotected in this country, in the world. And we act like that's not the case. Do the percentages. Black women are unalived more than any other group of women. Hands down. And they're the least to be covered on the news. They're the women that nobody knows their name. Do they know Ariana Preston? Patrice Wilson? Does anybody know their name? Is there a GoFundMe for these ladies? Is there people coming in, taking to the streets and saying, enough of taking black women's life like this. We need to stop it. And I know these swirling gone wrong jokers will find a case where a white guy does this and run it over and over and should. Okay? Anyone that unalives somebody, we should go after. But in the same instance, these Dusties that are doing it, we need to come for them too. But we're not doing it. But anyway, I'm going to put the link. If you want to come up, you can before I close. I just wanted to cover this story because I think it needs to be talked about. And I think more people need to talk about this. I think more content creators should talk about this. You know, I know there's divestment channels that do cover stuff like this, Black women being unalived and horrible things happening. But this is just sad. And I wonder, the guy that did he think anything good was going to happen, or he's going to get away with it? Is he so emotional that it just went in such a rage he couldn't control himself? Does he think life's going to be better now that he unalived her and took her away from her family? Does he think that Crossbar Hotel is going to be a good place for him? You know, we talk so much, hear it so much about white supremacy and how horrible it is, how evil it is. But these are men, or I don't even want to call them a man. Males, ladies in your own community. Your counterparts doing this. Not all. Don't give me somebody to say, yo, you're saying we're all like, no, I'm not. I'm just saying that there's a lot like this. But hey there, Alexander. How's it going, bro?
It's going good. I just realized that you were live. I just I just got finished eating, and I want to say I also did a live today. It was a special stream, you know. Um and I also talked about another story that that got out, you know, and about another Black woman who was unalived by by I would say career well, it was by by a Black man who went to prison, you know, a lot of times for I think it was for a well, he went to jail a lot of times and somehow he got out. Um and after Candace Laird visited her boyfriend, is she was in an elevator with the same person that was trying to hit on her, and she said no. And then he went on ahead and and just unalived her just like that. And that's why I say that the Black manosphere is dangerous, and so are the Black male worshippers. I mean, when this stuff is going on, where are the Black male worshippers who, you know, will tell these stories? I mean, I see the women in divestment. They're telling the stories because, and here's the thing: the truth needs to be out there. I do not get what I do not get this. Why we cannot tell what is going on in the community? Why do we always have to be silent just to please the Black man? I don't get it.
Yeah, and I think that's a big problem too. And we need to hold men accountable. and a lot of times they won't cover this case because it's a black man doing it, and they'll find the, the swirling gone wrong thing where there's a white man that does this, and they'll be all over it like, flies on what. But they don't cover when the black man does this. And what I'm saying is, this is happening too much. And I think it is the worshiping thing. It's the same thing with the bus driver. Oh, come on. You got to give him a chance. He's working hard. And I got nothing against bus drivers. Don't get me wrong. I'm a blue collar guy. And I grew up blue collar, and I didn't have, a lot of money and stuff, but I made ends meet. I've moved up, and I understand a bus driver can move up and do great things, and it's an honorable job. But if she's a celebrity making millions and you're making 40, 50,000 a year, and she don't want to date you, she don't have to, and you shouldn't take it personal. Women have that right. And when you get into worship, it's like, well, he's trying, so you gotta give him that chance. And and then also the victimhood, like, well, yeah, and I've heard people say this, that in cases like this, well, they lived a rough life, society, white supremacy, all this stuff. And that's a reason, I think, too, there's many variables, but I think these are leading to black women being unalived. And I always tell black women that I know, and on the internet, do not date down. Do not. And make the man provide. Be with a man that's doing something. If a man's successful at a job, making good money, it's probably because he worked hard to get there. Okay? And women have to think. They have to be hypergamous. They can't just sit back and say, well, he's attractive and, I love him. Let's do it. She's got to think about her. Is she going to be protected and provided for? Is her children going to be protected and provided for? So if a woman wants to live a good life, and her children too, she's got to go after the successful guy. She just has to. It's not being a gold digger. Okay? A gold digger is somebody that gets with you because of money and then takes your money and bounces. Okay, I get that. But if you want a relationship, ladies, the man's got to be well-rounded. Okay? Yeah, you want him to be attractive. Okay? And he's got to be somewhat attractive, because you got to be attracted to him for the relationship. But he's got to also have character. He's got to be hardworking. He's got to be consistent. Does he show to work on time too? And does he put you above himself? Will he sacrifice and do without so you're taken care of? But anyway, sorry, Alexander, I get a little bit winded there, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell from what I see. But what you were saying is, I agree with you. I think it's totally correct.
And the thing of it is that black men, the most black men think all they have to do is provide just have swag and the mythical BBC, and that's it. And ain't no mentioning of character in there at all, and ain't no mentioning of, oh, I can provide this and that. So again, again, when you have black men that think that way, I don't think is best for Black women to be in that proximity with them.
Yeah. Somebody said broken buck committee. Yeah, you're right. And look, and when I hear people say that, the BBC thing, and I'm just like, being a man is more than, the bedroom, okay? Um, you got to provide, you got to protect, you got to work, you got to take care of the woman. And look, it's more than sex, okay? Yeah, I mean, that's part of the relationship, but it's a part. Um, that ain't going to carry the day. You could be the best in bed and really turn her on, but after a while, when you're not providing for her and she's left out in the cold, that only lasts so long. So, but but some of these guys think that, and I'm just like, wow, that's all you got to do. I mean, but yeah, but I get that's when you ain't got nothing going on, you're not successful, nothing's happening for you, you know, and you say, well, hey, I don't have a job, I don't have nothing going on, but I'm pretty big, so I'm good in bed. So okay, ladies, you got to come to me and take care of me. I mean, that's ridiculous. But we hear this crazy, silly stuff, and but I mean, what can you say? But I think a lot of these relationships, the men just don't want to provide and protect. They're lazy. They're looking for women to either help them out in the relationship or take care of them totally. I think that 50-50 thing I think a lot of times turns into he does less than 50. And I heard one lady say, I was watching YouTube, and one lady was saying, and I think it was off of TikTok, but she was saying, well, women, they give birth, they're there for their husbands, they uplift them, and they take care of the house, they cook, they clean, they do all these things, and then being asked to pay 50% of the bills. And I was like, you know what? That's right. And as a man, if you really love the woman you're with, you should want to provide everything. You shouldn't want her to have to come out of pocket. Yeah, Gabrielle Union, yes. And that was one thing I heard about her. Dwayne Wade is a multimillionaire NBA superstar, and she's going 50-50 with him. Like, what the hell is that? I mean, there's guys that make, in my economic level, that provide everything. I don't even care what my wife makes at her job. I was raised to be the provider. That's my job. That 50-50 crap is BS. I mean, I understand in the real world, and when you're young, you got to make your way up, and sometimes the wife will work. But if you're a real man, you will try to find a way as quick and fast as possible to get it to where she don't have to make it to where it's a choice and not a requirement. But, and us as men, can we do that? Can we provide for the women in our life? Yeah, we can. Is it going to come easy? No, it's not. And when you're coming up the ladder, when you don't make much money, guess what? The wealthy, successful women will not look at you at all. They will kick you to the curb so fast it's not even funny. But don't take it personal. They're doing what they're supposed to. They need a man to provide and protect. And if she's an attorney, she shouldn't have to date a bus driver. I'm just saying. Dwayne Wade worth $170 million? Dang. Wow. And I can provide and pay all the bills with 120,000. But 170 million and he needs her to go 50-50. That is just ridiculous. Gabrielle Union, I mean, gosh, man, she's so successful and beautiful. She should not have to go 50-50. That's crazy. I don't know. What do you think, Alexander, about that? Gabrielle Union going 50-50 with Dwayne Wade. He's worth $170 million.
I mean, shoot, if I had that type of money, I'll be providing every day for my wife. I mean, and the thing of it is that, again, you know, they expect Black women to be provider, protector, and everything else instead of them doing it. And I saw a crazy video today of a Black man saying the main reason why Black women is, changing, doing all the work is because they doing it for Black men, when it's not even true. They're doing it for themselves, at least the ones who want to be, at least the ones who are divested are doing it for themselves. And the ones who put themselves first are doing it for themselves. You see, Black men want to be the center of attention on everything. If they're not, then they will go crazy and nuts. And that's why I say the things I say about the Black male worshipers, because they are the main cause of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it leads to so much problem. When you're not held accountable as a man, a lot of bad things are going to happen. Men have to be held accountable, more so than women. Let me tell you why. Okay, women need to be held accountable too. Don't get me wrong. But men need to be held accountable more. You know why? Because we're supposed to be the leaders in our community. We're supposed to be the providers and protectors. We're supposed to be the breadwinners. And when we're able to do that, nothing feels better as a man to be able to provide and protect for your wife and your family. Nothing feels better when your wife don't have to worry about finances because you're taking care of everything. When she can be stress-free, live in her femininity, and be there for you and love you and have your back. And then submission, it comes naturally. But you got to do what a man needs to do. You got to provide and protect. And if it comes to laying down your life for your wife, you have to do it. That's a requirement from God. Seriously. That's what we're supposed to do as men. And if you don't love your wife that much, then tell me, why should she submit to you? And if you're her boyfriend, she shouldn't submit to you anyway. Just saying. Submission is something, yeah, it's biblical, but we got our duties as men. We can't sit on the couch, play video games, and have her work 3 jobs and have her come home and submit to us. That don't work. It is what it is. Hey, Lady T, good to see
Hey,
you. How you doing?
hey Brent, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I just thought I'd put this story out here, and it's just sad. Um, and I know I've kind of drifted into dating and relationships, but I think a lot of these unalivings have to do with relationships. And I think a lot of these black women are dating these guys that are less successful, less ambitious. And I think that's creating problems. Of course, when they go to unaliving, there's something evil inside them beyond that. But I just look at this stuff and I'm like, how did it lead to this?
So I think I discussed this the last time I was on your panel, how Black women do not know how to compete in the dating market for the upper echelon of men, dateable
Mhm.
men across races. But I do think when Black women such as Gabrielle Union are somehow connected by marriage or whatever to a so-called high earning Black man, I do think that sometimes those women think that they have to quote unquote earn their keep with those men
Mhm.
because they got the elusive quote unquote successful Black man. So I'm going to do whatever I can to take care of it or to stay with him. I'm going to do whatever he wants sexually and go half on the bills. Mind you, Gabrielle earns significantly less. And Dwayne brought in, I think, 3 children into their marriage, right? So you're
Mhm.
taking a husband, 3 children, and you still have to pay half on the bills like a roommate. But
Yeah.
in Black women's mind, that's a good deal because what the Black community does is they place social capital on Black men's Blackness and maleness. So when a Black woman is with a Black man, she sees value in just him. So that makes up for a lot. So Black men know this. Black men know that Black women place this value on them. So they know, hey, if you want to keep me around, this is what you have to do. And 9 times out of 10, Black women concede to that.
Yeah. And it speaks volumes when you see Gabrielle Union doing that 50-50 thing. And look, I seen a video and stuff that she said she was doing sexual, and I'm just like appalled. Like, um, it is like kind of like a worship thing, and if he makes considerable more money than her, why should she pay for anything? She shouldn't. And if he really loves her, and look, I don't know his
It's not
feel.
about love. It's Black men who are with Black women make Black women pay for that.
Yeah, and that's sad. She shouldn't have. He should be just happy that she's with him. She's very successful.
Exactly. And so she has to pay the toll for that.
Yeah, and that's not right. And you know what? Lady T, I've seen that so many times in the real world. I've known black women, good women, successful. They'll get with a black man that, I guess he settles down and gets his head together, right? And I'll see women like this get in a marriage and they're economically um value goes out the door because a lot of these men bring children from other relationships.
They
I know,
bring children, they bring trauma, they're paying child support,
yeah,
most of them have terrible credit, so they have collections. They bring all of this into relationships with Black women, and Black women accept it just to say that they have a Black man. This is something that doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. Um, that's just the way it is. I mean, we can look at the dynamic playing out between Rihanna, who is a billionaire, dating so far down. We see it with people
yeah,
like Kiki Palmer. think is gorgeous, dating so far down. We've seen Simone Biles just marry a man who has significantly less wealth than her, right? Marrying down. We see this over and over again in the younger Black women as well. So I don't see this as changing anytime soon.
Yeah, I think it's just acceptable because the woman I know is retired like me from the army, and she got married, and he was a soldier too, but he had children, and she's obligated to that child support too because now they're married. And guess what? They're not going to say, okay, well, you don't have to pay the child support because that's not your kid. Yeah, they'll go after him, but guess what? When you're married, your income is both of yours. So a lot of times these women will pay for his children from other relationships. And I've seen that happen a lot. And
Yeah, it's happening. It's gonna happen. I thought it would get better with the younger generation of Black women. Seeing the women before what they had, the Mary J. Bliges, the Sherry Shepherds, um, the Tisha Campbells, um, all of these Black women, Wendy Williams, all of these Black women that have had to pay Black men in some way after they were supporting them. We've seen it happen time and time and time again, and yet we see it happening with this generation of women as well.
yeah, and it's sad. It just I see, you know, I see so many successful Black women. I mean, all over the place. And people are trying to say their degrees don't mean nothing. They're not really real degrees or all this crazy stuff. But I'm seeing Black women as lawyers in the medical field. A lot of them are, and having degrees. And I'm seeing really pretty good degrees that make good money.
Yeah,
Um,
I always say this: Black women are great at getting degrees. They're great at book smarts. They're great at those type things. But when it comes, like I said, to engaging in relationships and people skills and understanding the dating market and understanding how worth is tied to who you decide to be with, and how your image is tied to who you decide to be with, that's where Black women that's when they are third graders, because this is where they always drop the ball.
yeah, and it makes me wonder because I mean, Black women are doing amazing things. A lot of Black women got it so together, and like these women I seen that I did news reports on, and it's sad to see their life ripped out because they're beautiful, they're successful, their whole life's ahead of them, and well, the police officer that was four evil teenagers that took her out, but this one with Patrice Wilson, um, she was very successful and she broke up with this guy. She saw he was toxic. Her mother saw she was toxic. Her grandmother saw that he was toxic, right? They all knew he was toxic and she got away. But he still got her and unalived her because I don't I guess because he wasn't calling him, she wasn't calling him enough, or the worship. And here's the thing: Black women shouldn't date or marry down, and you should hold men the standards and hold them accountable. Because if you don't, a lot of times you're going to get this toxic stuff, and Black women are not going to win when they date and marry out. And I think that's why the marriage rate is so horrible in the Black community, because Black women are dating and marrying down because they're settling for less. If you're a lawyer, you should never be with a bus driver. I'm just saying. And nothing against the bus driver, but you're more accomplished. You should be with a man that's accomplished like you. And you need to be
Well,
with
the
the man.
problem is, Black women, they feel like the accomplishment is getting a Black man. A black woman can get all the degrees or accolades or whatever that they get in their lives, and most feel if they haven't conquered, quote unquote, getting a black man, then they still don't see themselves as successful. Which is why you see women with all of these accolades, all of these letters behind their names, get with a black man who doesn't match her in any way, because that they think that that man is social capital. They place value on black men. I don't know why. No one else in society places value on black men, but black women do. So that's the problem.
Yeah, and maybe it's some cultural thing, maybe conditioning. Maybe there needs to be a little bit of reprogramming where black women just see men as men. And you know what? And I would say to black women, look, there are attractive men in all races. Is there not? There's attractive women in all races. Let's be honest. There either people are attractive or they're not, or they're in the middle.
Brett, it's not about attractiveness, because half of these black women are not getting with attractive black men, because only a small percentage of black men are even attractive. So it's not about physical attractiveness. It's about the person being black and male. That's it.
And okay. Well, I don't disagree, but I mean, I've heard black women say they're not attracted to anybody but black men.
Right. They're talking about the blackness and maleness. They're not talking about their looks.
Oh, okay. So they just want black man and that's
They
it.
just want black males. If you look at who women consider black male sex symbols, like Idris Elba, who is not physically appealing in any way. Back in my day, it was Wesley Snipes, who was not appealing in any way. And the only thing these men had, it was Malik Yoba, who was not attractive in any way. They just had blackness and maleness. That's it.
Yeah. And well, I think if black women didn't have that mindset, I think, gosh, black women would dominate.
And here's the thing. Black women see themselves, as I've said this before, as black first. They do not see themselves as women first. They see themselves as black first because that's the qualifier that ties them to black men. They align themselves with black men before they will align themselves with other races of women. Every other race of women aligns with their sex first. They're all about being women first. Black women do not do that. So they want to connect themselves to black men. And this is something that they can choose not to do, but they don't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you know what? I've said it and I'll say it. And they've done many studies. Black women can date any man they want. They can marry any man they want.
Right. They want black men. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I agree with you. They do. And they're so many of them are so loyal to black men. And I've seen it through the years. And I'm like, wow, this guy ain't really doing nothing for you. He really ain't got nothing going on. And like you said, and not really attractive. So what is it? I guess just being black, down with the cause, I guess. Is that black love? Is that what it is? I don't know. The only thing I see in it is 27%. That's the number of black women that are married in America. Last stat I checked, and I'm pretty sure it's lower than that right now. 27% of black women are married. And black women are only 7% of the population. So if you open up your option, and people say, and I heard this Dennis Sperling clown say, well, only 1% of white men are marrying black women. Well, look at it. Black women are 7% of the population. White men are what? Like 56% of the population? That's saying white men. That's not Hispanic. This is white, non-Hispanic men. You throw white men, Hispanic also? Oh my God. That 1% is millions. Less than 1% is serving in our armed forces today. And more white men are married to black women than serving in the military. Let that sink in. So it's all a big lie. And you know, if every white man married a black woman, we would only reach 28%. Let that sink in. They're playing with numbers. He never says what the percentage of black women married to white men are. They never
Well,
say that.
I don't listen to black men as far as getting any types of stats or anything from black men, because we know that they're not very intelligent. So they do not know how to read statistics. They do not know how to interpret numbers. So
Yeah.
that's a waste of time to try to decipher anything that they say. But I will say that black women, it's up to black women, right? And black women black women have to hold the L for their dating and mating practices at this point. There's nothing else I can say, you can say, anyone can say that hasn't already been said.
Yeah, but the reason I put numbers, because I want people to see the truth. They play with numbers. They run the stats without telling you the whole truth. And they also say that 85% of black men are married to black women. Sounds great, wonderful, right? Well, only 30% of black men are married, right?
Right. And we all know that stat, and we all know that, like I said, black
Yeah.
men do not know how to interpret data. We already know that. But black women, the most educated group in America, should know better. So if black women are listening to black men interpret stats, then I'm going to question them.
Yeah. And I would say to black women, open up your options, please. Seriously. You deserve better. The man should make well more than you. He should be taking total care of you. And if he's not willing to, he don't deserve you. You're the prize, you're the treasure. And if you can look at it biblically. The Bible, the word of God says that women are the prize. They're worth more than precious stones and rubies. The virtuous woman is worth more than anything on earth. Let that sink in. And who's the most successful, most loving, most nurturing woman on earth right now? It's the black woman. And ladies, look, women are the prize across the board, but black women in the collective, you lead the way. You're given the most love. You're given the most of everything. Did you know that white men are more successful marrying black women than any other group of women? Yes, even Becky and Karen. Yes. And we're more wealthy when we're with the black woman. They've proven that through so many studies. And you can take it to black men. They're better off with black women statistically. When black men date out, it gets worse. So what's that saying is, black women, your character is amazing. The value you have is outstanding. It's second to none. Ladies, I'm not just saying this because my wife's black and I love black women. I'm saying this because it's the truth. There are men all across this country that will date you, that will marry you. A lot of these men, non-black men, don't think they have a chance in hell in dating you. Once they feel they have a chance, let me tell you, things are going to explode. And we're already seeing the numbers gradually go up. Black women, white men, black women, Asian men, black women, Hispanic men. And look, when a man feels the love of a black woman, he will not want any other love. I'm telling you the truth. Ladies, you have something that's beautiful, that's special. Your beauty is second to none. From the outside to your appearance, to your heart, to your soul. You are the best. And why settle for anything less? You should have the best. And
Right.
you know
Yep. Ask them, Brent, why do they settle for the best? And why are they still out here caping for black men?
Yeah.
Why? Why? Why are they rooted to black men's struggle? Why did y'all get this decorated Marine in New York arrested for protecting on a subway?
Yeah, that
Why? Because it was black women that was protesting and wanted him arrested, wanted Daniel Penny arrested. Why? Black women cry and say they want men to protect them. A man protects them, they want him in jail.
yeah. And you know what? With the femicide rate, we need more men like Penny to step
We need
up.
more men like him. This man protected the community. Isn't that what black women said they wanted? Community policing. They didn't want the police. They wanted community policing. A member of the community policed. They don't want that either. I don't know what black women want at this point.
Yeah.
And this is why I say black women tied to the liberalism, tied to the black man's struggle, is holding them back from a lot in this society.
Yeah, it is. And black women are getting the short end of the stick.
Because of their liberalism, their capeism, they're wanting to fight and protect everyone. You show the world that you don't need protecting. You show the world that you got it all figured out. And it's like black women collectively are sending different messages. I want to be protected. Okay, someone protects them. Not like that. So I don't know. I don't know what they want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, the thing of it is not all black women are doing that. Some black women are seeing the light and they're opening up. And
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. But I hope you're right.
Yeah. I just think black women deserve better than what they get.
Of course they deserve, but a lot of black women's wounds are self-inflicted, and we can't play like that's not the case. Black women deserve. I'm a black woman, so of course I'm going to say black women deserve everything.
Yeah.
But I also can see when wounds are self-inflicted.
Yeah. And like I said, and that Penny case is going to get more media coverage than Patrice Wilson, more media coverage than our Ariana Preston.
Yep.
It is. And the sad thing is that Penny case, they'll probably take to the streets, protest, and do all that stuff. But
Of course, because we got his defense is almost 2 million, if it's not 2 million. So we got his crowdfunding up to like 2 million for his defense.
Oh, well, that's good. At least they're somebody, taking a stand for him. And
Of course, because he should not have been charged, right? And the only reason they charged him with manslaughter. They couldn't charge him with murder, any degree of murder, because then they would have had to charge the black man who was holding his arms with accessory to murder. So they had to do manslaughter.
Yeah, I don't think he should be charged. I think that should be like a stand your ground case right there. You know what? And people think I'm crazy, but I'm all for the stand your ground law. You know what?
I never stay in a state that doesn't have it. I will never stay in a state. I always say I'm not living nowhere I can't take my pistol. I will always live in a stand your ground state if I'm in the United States. I've always lived in one. I don't know any other way. I try not to even travel to states that have restrictive gun laws.
Yeah. Well, I'm in a state where you can carry an open carry state. You can have a weapon. You can have a pistol as long as it's in sight, unless you get a concealed permit. And you know what? I'm packing all the time.
Yeah, that's how it is here. You can pretty much carry
But
wherever you want, long as it's permitted. and we have a mixture of castle doctrine and stand your ground here, and no duty to retreat law. So I don't have to run if somebody's, after me. I can defend myself.
Yeah. Well, in my state, it's a little more leftist. I live in a blue state, and we're an open carry state. Yeah, thank God for that. But I'm a little worried because the politicians are trying to, go to more gun control measures and all this stuff. And look, I think it's better when people are packing. Look, in today's world, the craziness going on, do you know there are churches where their deacons are packing? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because there's shootings in church, right?
Yeah.
People shoot in church. People open fire in church. So
My
yes,
church, the church I go to, the deacons are packing.
yes, they should.
They should, yes, because you don't know when some lunatics go in there and shoot up the place. And that's our right to protect ourselves. We should be able, and especially women. I think Black women should, have a concealed carry permit. I think Black women should be allowed to carry because
Yeah, but the question is, will they use it on who they need to use it on? Because we know the number one predator of Black women is Black men, and most Black women aren't gonna open fire on a Black man. It's just the way it is. They don't even want other people to do it
yeah,
in their defense. So
you're probably right. Even though they probably feel harmed, a lot of them would be like, "Well, that's a Black man, even though he's going to unalive.
right.
I can't do it." And then she gets unalived. Yeah, that. You know what? I think you're right with that. I really do. Sadly, I wish that was not the truth, but I think it is for a lot of Black women. But I don't know. I blame the news media. I blame society for this stuff. I this whole case. I think if our laws were stricter, and we focused on stuff like this and took it to the national level, there should be, in my opinion, there should be a law that. And people say, okay, well, you're discriminating, you're showing favoritism. But yeah, I kind of think we need to. When it comes to the Black women, when they're unalived, I think it should just automatically go to the national news level. I think we should,
But Black women don't want that though, right? Because then they will have to talk about the perpetrators.
oh, yeah. Then,
So Black women are always going to protect Black men, even at the expense of her own life. We see that, right? We seen the Black femicide could have reached national attention, but it did not, because no one wants to talk about the problem. When they did the documentary on missing Black girls, they talked about everything except who was making the Black girls go missing. No one wants to talk about the problem. And until we talk about the disease and not just the symptom, we're not going to get anywhere. And Black women do not want to talk about the reason, the root cause.
you're right. Yeah, I don't know. All the points you're bringing up, I'm like, gosh, how do we get through this? How do we make this a national thing? How do we?
We can't do it. Black women have to do it. That's the thing. Black women has to carry this and make it a national thing. They don't want to.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think right now in today's world, um, Black women hold the cards, and even though they're the most unprotected,
Most unprotected, the most hunted, the most they get hunted like high
yeah,
risk animals. It's crazy, but then they'll vote for soft on crime policies. They'll vote for DAs who won't charge criminals. They'll do things to shoot themselves in the foot. It's like, it's so crazy to me.
yeah, yeah, I don't. But you know what? if they can't do it, maybe we can bring it to the light, and maybe we can reach one or two people. I think, you can't
I
give up.
always say this. I had to learn this, Brent, because I was like that. I'm like, I want black women to see it like I see it.
Yeah,
Listen, you cannot care more about a person than they care about themselves. Black
yeah,
women will never put themselves before black men collectively. So until that happens, you just have to reach the ones you can, and the rest, just let them go.
yeah. That's it. You just have to reach, the ones you can that see the light, that are willing to open up their options and be strategic, and and look, they, black women can have it so much better in today's world. They can have it
Oh,
all.
they can. I've said that several times. I said black women could be the most catered to women in this country, on this earth,
Yes.
if they let go of black men and black communities collective mindset. But that's never going to happen.
Yeah. And but if they did do that, if they went for the best option and opened up their options, that would force either black men would have to be better.
I don't care about black men. Whatever, that's the thing.
Yeah,
Black women need to do what's best for them and don't care about what will happen to black men.
yeah, that's true. You're right. I'm just looking at it at a logical thing. If men have to compete, they'll get better. But that ain't always true with every man, right? I don't know. I just feel if I don't know. I just if I have to, well, and I think, look, I think a lot of black men, it's they have such easy access to black women that, and I'm not, and I'm just talking in general, where black women will just fall on the sword for black men, that they'll only date black men because they want a black man, they want black children, they want black love, right? And they will settle for less to get that. And I just, I don't know if they could get out of that mindset and just go for the best man, they would be better off. They would just,
Not
but
even just for the black man, but go for what's best for them and themselves. That's a start. Even if black women can just start there, right? Their dating options would improve and they will see who the best men or the better men for them are. But black women won't even collectively put themselves first. Even when they go to college and get degrees or get professional training, they use that professional training to go right back and help the quote unquote black community, i.e., black men. They get a law degree, they go work, then they'll go work for the Innocence Project to free black men. They get a master's in social work. They go into the hood to help black men. They get a
yeah,
degree in nursing. They go into the inner city hospital to help black men. It's like even when we educate ourselves, we still take our knowledge, our resources back to helping the black community.
yeah. And then you know what? Then you're have your career, you're doing awesome things, moving up in the world, and he's dropping you off in your Range Rover while you're at work and you know doing whatever. Um, it just we see it all the time. It's so crazy. I was listening to a Divested channel, right? And they were talking about in the medical field these women that were doctors, black women, and the men they were with dropping them off in like their Range Rovers or BMWs, dropping the women off and taking off in their car, and I'm just like, wow. I'm, but I've actually seen that craziness in real life. That's not a lie, ladies. Is that a lie? Is it? I've actually seen some stuff like that. I mean, I've seen black women carry black men many times.
That's the norm in the black community. Black women are the providers of the Black community. That's just the dynamic that they're in. And they can change that, but they're not willing to.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the medical field, there are white men and Hispanic men and Asian men in the medical field that will date these women. Don't kid yourself. I talk to white men, I talk to Asian men, Hispanic. Most of them tell me they will date Black women. They think Black women are beautiful. Most that I talk to.
I mean, most men will date attractive women. Like
Yeah.
I've said this several times. When man sees a woman, he sees a woman first.
Yes, we do.
And if you're attractive and they're attracted to you, that's what they see first. So Black women, I feel, are the most attractive women in the world.
They are.
So there is no doubt that a Black woman can date whoever she wants, but she has to want to date those people.
Yeah, she does. And that's the key right there. She has many options, but if she don't want those options, then yeah, you're right. And like I said, it's not the men's problem. There's been women that tell me, well, where are the white men at that will date Black women? They're all over the place. I mean, and here's the thing, and look, Black women are moving up in the corporate world, and I think that's leading to more interracial relationships because
Yeah, it is, but Black women need to let that, because Black women are messing up these corporate worlds with coming in with their DEI initiatives and Black Lives Matter and all this, social justice BS that they're bringing into these spaces. So that turns a lot of white men off. It turns me off.
yeah, it does. You're right, and look, I've said it before, and I'm not trying to get political, but the thing I've always found the most attractive is the conservative Black woman, the traditional Black woman.
I always say that. I always tell
Yeah,
Black women, it's not your Blackness that's keeping you single. It's your liberalism. It's your
yeah,
social justice mentality. It's your
and-
capeism for Black men. That's what keeps Black women single. White men do not want to know about your preferred pronouns. They do not want to know that you believe Black Lives Matter. They do not want to know that you support LGBTQHIJKLMNOP. He don't want to know all that.
yeah, and that's what I find most attractive is the conservative Black woman. And yeah, I get it, I'm a conservative, but I see the true beauty. I can look at, you know,
Because
Black,
conservative Black women are Black or white. Like, we just see things for what it is, and there are no gray areas. It's either the way it is or not.
yeah,
That's how I am as a conservative woman. I tell it the way it is. I mean, to me, it is A or B. It's no gray area for me. So most white men feel the same way. It is what it is.
yeah, yeah, and those to me, and those I've found are the most loving, most nurturing women. Conservative, the traditional woman, the woman that wants the family, the marriage, and a lot of those women will tear away and go for the best option. Um, and look, I'm not going to put nobody down for their politics. You can believe how you want. I love you regardless of what you think. But I'm just telling you what I see. The Anita Baker in her prime to me is more attractive than Beyonce. And the reason I say that is because the image I see like when I see Anita Baker, and I don't know how she is. I'm just using this as an example. You see how she sings, right? Back in the day, she would wear a dress. She appeared to be like a family woman, like that just was in love. Someone you would see in church, right? Beyonce, extremely beautiful, successful, talented. That to me, her image is seen more like a sex symbol. right? But when you really want a good wife and a mother to your children, you want that conservative woman, okay? That traditional woman that's family orientated. That to me is attractive, more so than what her butt looks like, her chest, and her body shape, and all that. To me, is what the woman's heart and soul has. Now, both of those women are beautiful, okay? A black woman's body is beautiful, but we focus too much on that instead of what's in her heart and soul. And, you know, I just, but anyway, that's just my thoughts, guys. And a lot of white men think like I do. It's not so much if you got a big butt or big boobs, it's what's inside. It's
Brett,
your,
how did we get on big butt and boobs now? I dozed off for 2 seconds and you talking about butt and boobs now. What are we talking about?
I'm just saying what I see, what's important. But you know, I didn't mean
Oh,
to go there, but look, this is the value I see. And conservative women ain't going to show off those parts, right? What I'm saying is a black woman's worth is more than the body shape, more than the outside. Does that make sense?
that makes sense, but black women got to feel that about themselves.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's not.
I get what you're saying, Brent. We get it. We get it. You think you see a woman for her character, not her body. I get it. We all
Yeah,
get it.
and naturally we're attracted to those features. Men and women are sexually attracted to each other. There's a time and place for that. But the reason I make this point is a lot of times with these beta kings, they're looking at black women in their body shape, what they look like, not what their character is. They don't go deep with their love. And there's a lot of white dudes the same way. And
Hmm. But
that's
I
why
think that's men in general, though. I think
yeah,
that's men in general. To be fair, that is men in general.
it is. It is. And we're wired that way. Let's be honest, okay? But we got to have discipline. And when you really fall in
Right.
love,
That is the key. Men have to be able, yes, I see an attractive woman, but if you're looking for a partner, a life partner, a wife, whatever, you need to be able to see past that. I totally agree with you. But
yeah,
here's the thing. The black community is very, very over sexualized.
yes.
Sex is a major part of the black community, unfortunately.
Yes, it is, and that's pretty much my point. What I'm making, because a lot of times black men will approach black women in a sexual way and say sexual things.
Right, that is part of the black community, which is why it will behoove black women who don't want to be a part of that to leave the black community altogether.
Yeah,
So yes, I get exactly what you're saying.
but and I'm just saying that we see more in black women than her body shape. Yeah, we're attracted to that. No, I can't lie and say, oh yeah, I'm not. That don't turn me on. It does, but the thing of it is we see more in black women. The love I've had for black women went beyond her body shape. It went beyond, it was what the love she had, the big heart. I tell people I fell in love with black women at 5 years old. There was no sexual thoughts in my mind. It was just the loving they had. You can kind of feel it. And I think black women just naturally have that loving, nurturing part about them. They're they got a big heart. And you can't say black women do not have a big heart when they've been through everything they have been with black men and how they've been treated, how they've been over sexualized, how they've been manipulated. You can't tell me they've put up with that, they've sacrificed and still tried to uplift the men that are not providing and still give them their heart and soul, still fall on the sword. And yeah, it's kind of delusional, but it's a big heart too. Black women, the love they have in their heart can be such a blessing or a curse in so many ways. And I see it all the time, you know. But anyway, sorry, I drift a little bit, but these are just thoughts that are coming from my head, guys. I'm trying to speak honest, and I know it sounds weird sometimes when I drift a little bit, but I'm trying to make a point because this is what I see. But anyway, um, hey, Alexander, do you want to say something? We kind of.
Yeah, I was just enjoying the conversation. A lot of what you said is true. I also agree with Lady T um, on what she says as well. And I do believe that that Black women need to need to have self-love. And I do believe that Black women need to put themselves first, because the community, when something bad happens to Black women, it's like you will have you will have black the Black men and the Black male worshippers shame that Black woman for either being raped, or being abused, or you're getting into a domestic violence situation. So it's so I do think that Black women should put themselves first.
Yeah, exactly, Alexander. I totally agree. And Lady T, you're on fire. You're just knocking it down. I'm
I
very,
know, and I know people think I'm being mean. I'm being mean. I'm just,
no, you're
I'm
not.
just, I'm just being honest. I'm speaking as a Black woman.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but I'm just looking at stuff and I'm just like, but my whole point in this tonight wasn't just to show you the horrible news story, what happened to this beautiful young lady, but to bring awareness, because this is not something that just happens in Detroit. Okay. This happens in all 50 states, right? Black women are being unalived. And I just tell you what I think. Now, sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But I think Black women, especially, you need to be more strategic more than anybody. And I think it would be in Black women's best interest to go for the best option and not get caught up in the color, not get caught up in Black men only type thing. Go for the best man. You look, attraction, that's in the eyes of the beholder, right? Some people might find you attractive, some might not. You the same way. But ladies, you got to have what's best for you. Black women need to make it about Black women, not about Black men, not about the men they're dating, Black or white. Don't worship a man. Make him compete for you. Okay? Make him earn the privilege, if you choose to give him that, in the blessing of being with you. You are the prize. You are the treasure. It's about you, Black women. And once it becomes about you, I think Black women will be better off. They will be at the top scale above every group of women. And I know people are going to hate me for this, but I believe this. And look, I've talked to white women, and I've talked to white women that are honest, and they say, you know what? we have a real competition with black women because they are beautiful. They have that body shape. They are loving. And that if a white woman's honest, and I know some that are, they'll admit, you know, how much value black women have. And a lot of them fear that because as we move on, the future, it ain't always going to be Becky as the beauty standard. Okay? In a segregated world, yes. If she's part of the majority, she will be the beauty standard just because she's part of the majority. But as we move forward, as we have a different thought process, as us as men are looking for women that not just look like us, but that share our values, it ain't going to always lead us to Becky. Let me tell you, black women share my values more than any other group of women, period. And a lot of black women will vote on the left, Democrat, but a lot of them are so conservative it ain't even funny. A lot of black women are traditional. A lot of black women are women of faith. That shares a lot of my values.
Yeah, let me say, I agree. I think a lot of black women are traditional if
Yeah.
they act in their natural, how they naturally want to be. But a lot of black women do adopt this. I don't ever want to be married. I don't want one man. I want to be able to do this because they know that's what black men want. They know black men do not believe in monogamy. So they'll say, oh, I believe in polygamy. They know black men don't want to be married. So they'll say, oh, I don't want to be married. But they have like 4 or 5 children, but they don't want to be married. So it's black women collectively. I'm not speaking about every single black woman collectively are going to lead toward whatever they think black men want.
Yeah, and but I think deep down inside, black women do not want what
They
black
don't. They do not want this pump and dump culture. But
no.
because black men want it, they accept it and adopt it. It's like I was having a conversation with a black woman, and it was a white woman in the conversation, and she said, you know, how she's a stay-at-home mom, the blah 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 blah. And the black woman was like, well, I can never be a stay-at-home mom. I don't see how you cannot have your own career, blah 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 blah. But I didn't say anything because I know for a fact collectively black women have never been offered the option to stay home and take care of their children without any financial concerns. They've never collectively been in that situation.
Yes.
So they deny things that haven't even been offered to them.
Yeah, that is so true. And look, I've seen black women in good marriages. My wife, that these women are stay-at-home mothers. My wife was, but my wife had a career later on too.
Right.
Um, you know, black women, I've seen black women be the stay-at-home traditional mother with the children and then go in the corporate world and just tear it up, just kill
Right.
it.
And I think most black women would prefer that. But they're not going to say that because they know black men will never offer them that opportunity.
Yeah. And I don't and I think I have thought about this so many times when I think about uh the black community and my thoughts, right? I'm thinking, okay, black women a lot of times are carrying the load or they're going 50-50. And it seems like black men do not are hesitant to share their resources with the black woman. Am I wrong on that?
What resources do black men have to share?
Well, I'm just saying the ones that do, it seems like they cling to what they got. In my situation with my wife, I've always given her more than I kept for myself. Just because I love her and I want her to have everything and I want her to be happy and
Right, because that's the nature of a man, right? To make sure the women and children are taken care of. That's how
yeah,
men think. But black men do not see black women as women. So they don't see them as worthy of their resources if they have any. They don't see black women as worthy of that.
yeah, and maybe that's why Dwayne Wade is okay with Gabrielle Union doing 50-50. Maybe it's so built in the culture, it don't matter how much money you make.
Right.
You
It doesn't
require
matter
a
how much
woman
money
to,
you make
yeah,
when you're with a black woman, you do not share it with her.
yeah, it's like it's
You do
mine.
the bare minimums, but you don't share it with her. I mean, I feel like, that did not surprise me when she said that. It didn't
Mm,
surprise me at all.
yeah. But it just seems so wrong. Gabrielle Union, look, I don't know how she is a person, but she's a successful actress. She's very beautiful. She could have almost any man she wants. She can have a man that's more successful than Dwayne Wilson. Dwayne Wayne Wilson. Dwayne
Brent, you
Wayne.
keep saying these women can have any man they want. That's who they want, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I'm thinking, look, ladies, you can have this and you can have whatever you want. But I know what you're saying, but they want this.
Right.
And that's the thing. Women, they're going, look, what you want, you're going to have. And black women, what they want, they're going to have. And that's why, the black community still exists, because that's what black women want. Black women overwhelmingly want black men. That is the honest to God truth. Okay. Even if they're dealing in abusive relationships, okay, that's what they want, a lot of them in the collective. Now, here's the thing, and listen to me, men. Listen. Okay, don't get caught up in who likes you and that crap. Okay, you go for the best option, and this can apply to women too. Listen, I always thought black women was the best option. That's who I was attracted to. That's who I love. That's who I grew up to love, is black women. Okay, because of different events in my life, and black women have shown me they're the most loving, most beautiful women, inside and out. Okay. Now, when I started dating, I knew most black women would not date me because I'm a white guy, right? It's true. And that's okay. And I remember some of my friends saying, okay, why do you want to date them? Most of them aren't going to date you. Why don't you just date white women? Or there's Asian women, they'll like you. Why don't you do that? No, I want to date black women. Okay. Well, most of them ain't going to like you. And that's okay. But here's the thing. If they're the best option, that's who I want. And you know what? How many black women do I need to have a successful marriage? To have, a good family life? How many black women do I need to like me to be blessed with the most beautiful, most successful woman on earth? How many do I need to like me? Let this sink in, guys, because we get caught up in this. How many? One. Black women are the best option. Black women are the most attractive. Black women are the most successful. Black women are the most loving, most nurturing. And I want to be with a black woman. I prayed to God that he would give me a black wife. And you know what? He did. And I only needed one black woman to love me. I don't need the majority to love me. I don't need a huge percentage. I just need one to be blessed. And that's how I thought. Because I didn't expect black women to like me overwhelmingly. I expected to get rejected. In fact, I hesitated because I knew I'd get rejected. But I was so attracted to black women, I had to have a black girlfriend. I had to. And you know what? I found out some like me and will date me. But all I need is one. And ladies, do not let these betas tell you that no other group of men want you, that, it's only black men that want you. Because let me tell you, if only 1% of all these other groups of men will date you, all black women would be married. It's not about the majority. It's not about numbers. It's just finding that good wife. Ladies, for you, it's finding that good husband, the man that's going to be there for you.
Well, let me say something to that, Brent. You bring up a great point. If what you said is that even though most black women are socially conservative, I think, if they really wanted to be truthful,
Yeah.
but most black women do live as liberals, Democrats, whatever, in their lifestyle. And studies say that most liberals, Democrats are unmarried.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we reconcile black women being conservative but living as liberals, voting as liberals, and we know that liberals are most likely to not marry?
That is a good question. That is a good thought. Now, not all liberals don't marry. I know.
I mean, it's never all, right? But
Yeah, but
there has
I
been
know what you're.
statistics that show that people who are liberal or self-identify as liberal are less likely to be married.
Yeah,
Most people who are married are conservative.
yes, and that's true because for me as a conservative, it would be a shame for me to live with a woman that's not my wife. And I know I'm hard right with that. I find it that it's wrong for me to show a woman's body um, that it belongs to her husband. That's my thinking, right? I'm hard right on that.
Right.
Um, yeah,
But most black women are not.
yeah, and I think that's where a lot of the problem is, and it's not that they want to be that way. I think it's conditioning. A lot of black women,
Exactly. That's what I wanted you to say. I know you
yeah,
don't like to talk about politics, but the problem is black women collectively are so rooted to liberalism, rooted to social justicing, rooted for living a life that ain't even been offered to her, or trying to deny a life that hasn't been offered to her, is what's keeping black women in the situation that they're in. At least that is my opinion.
yeah. No, I could see that, but I think it is conditioning. I think black women, deep down inside, a lot that I don't know all black women, and I can't speak for black women, but the ones I talk to, a lot of them tell me they want to be married. They want to have, I've talked to young black women. They want to have a husband. They want to have kids and be married, and they want that traditional life. And I've talked to middle-aged black women. They want that, and I've talked to black women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, okay, that tell me that's what they want. There are black women in their 60s and 70s looking for, that marriage still. And there are women in those age groups, 50s, 60s, and 70s, looking to open up their options. And I've talked to these women, and these women have a beautiful spirit. And you know, some of them, a lot of them have told me they fell for the okadoke. They fell for black love. They thought that was going to happen, and it did. And now, later on in life, they're saying, "I'll get with whatever race the man is. I don't care as long as he loves me and he's there for me." Um, and they get to that point later on in life. I know two black women that I went to high school with, that I'm friends with, that would only date black men, hands down. They're in their 50s like me, and they're looking to open up their options because now it didn't work. Their relationships were short-lived. It was boyfriend and girlfriend, never had the marriage, never offered the ring. And these women aren't ugly, they're beautiful and successful. And with that being said, I would tell black women, young black women, look at other men. Seriously. Look, and it don't have to be white men, it can be Asian, Hispanic, other men. The reason I say that is because in the black community, the marriage rate is very low. 27% of black women are married. Okay. And only actually 24% are married to black men. Okay. So the black love thing with the numbers is not working. Okay. And I don't wish that to be a failure. I don't. I wish all marriages worked. But you got to look at it for what it is. And there are so many other men in this world. And if, in my opinion, you might not agree, but if you're a woman, you want the man that's going to compete for you, the man that's going to give everything for you, the man that's going to put you first, more so than the man that looks like you. Okay? The segregated mindset.
So, Brent,
over.
let me ask you a question.
Or should be over. Sorry. Go ahead, Lady T.
All of these black women that you know that are open to dating white men, and all of these white men that you know that are open to dating black women, have you not tried to introduce them?
Some I have. Actually, I had one case where I kind of introduced this guy to this woman by throwing him under the bus. And it was funny, but he's married to her now. So he hated me for doing that, but he loves me because I did it. Because he was afraid to talk to her. These women I talk to, like a lot of them I talk to online, some with video call. And they just tell me their life story. But men that I work with, that I'm around every day, white men, Hispanic men, and this and that, most of them tell me they will date black women. They find them attractive. I just, there's some that I've tried to link together. But I don't know. But a lot of these people I'm not with every day that I can hook them up. We go to work, we see each other at work, we talk, and that's about it a lot of times. But I did hook up one guy with a black woman that he wanted to talk to, and he'd walk by her and not say nothing and then talk to me about it. And I got tired of hearing about it. And I says, you know what? He's in love with you, but he's too damn scared to talk to you. And she was like, well, he can speak for himself. And I left. And they ended up dating. They got married. So I think a lot of times black women and white men do not approach each other out of fear or just hesitation. But I mean, these are people that I'm around. Now, I don't talk to all these people on the streets, and it's not thousands of people that want to get together. But I'm just saying, the people I'm around, they tell me they will date black women, that they're interested. They don't think they have a chance, a lot of them tell me, but they said they'd do it. But anyway. Yeah, go ahead.
Brett, I'm doing a live tomorrow. It's going to be at 12:40. And it's going to be in the afternoon. And
what time? Sorry.
It will be at 12:40 in the afternoon when I go live. We're going to be talking about it, and as you know, I'm doing story time on my channel on Sundays. Um, and it's called Story Time. Why are the black male worshipers and the black manosphere victim blaming victim blaming the victims of abuse and domestic violence? And because I really think that should be talked about and get out into the world, because I'm like you. I'm I'm tired of black women being victim shamed by the black community, and pretty much I'm sick and tired of when a black woman gets unalived in the community, is all of a sudden she's not being marched for. But when it's a black man, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, it is. And it's sad because these black women, look, let's be honest. In the black community, the crime stats are mostly the men. It's not the women. Black women, um, black women for the most part I've seen are doing everything they should. In fact, they're doing better than other groups of women. They're achieving things with the least amount of resources, and but we're not showing them love. We're not showing black women love. We're not, and it's our fault. And look, you know, and it's been happening for years. I've shown that Malcolm X video where he talks about black women being the least protected, most disrespected back in the '60s, and he actually complimented white men for protecting their women, right? And that's one of the rare times he complimented white men, but except that time he came back from his pilgrimage to Mecca and he had a change of heart. But what I'm saying is the same problem that was in the '60s is still the same problem today. In fact, it's worse now than it was then. And whose fault is it? Yeah, it's black men's fault, but it's white men's fault too, because we turn a blind eye. Black men are not protecting the women in their community, and white men are turning a blind eye. Asian men, well, whatever, don't concern me. I'm not saying all. Look, I'm saying men in general. We honestly, as people, we really don't care about what's going on if it don't concern us. And look, I'm not lying. That's human nature. Like I showed that story of that beautiful young black woman that was unalived. And you know what? How many people are losing sleep over that? How many people really care about that? They'll say, "Oh yeah, that's horrible. That's awful. My prayers for the family." And then they go on with their life. And I'm not saying go and cry all day, but what I'm saying is there's a real problem and we don't even see it till it affects us. And until we love and respect black women like we should, this is going to continue to happen.
And I
And
would also add that black women need to want protection for themselves.
yes, yeah, of
And that's
course.
going to have to happen. I mean, like I've said, we can't care more about anyone more than they care about themselves. And collectively, black women have not shown that their lives and their womanhood are important and in need of protection, right? When Asian women wanted protection, they showed we need protection and they got it. Black women have never, ever, that I've known, collectively stood up and said, we black women need protection. Not we black people, not black men, but we as black women. And they have never done that.
Yeah. And you know what? That's what black women need to do.
That's
Put
exactly what Black women need to do.
yeah,
Before we can say that someone needs to protect us, before we scream that nobody is putting out our fire, we need to first let people know we're on fire. And Black women do not want to say we're burning because we don't want you to look at who's setting the fires.
yeah. And that's the thing. Black women put Black men first. Black women put Black community first. Black women put everybody first but themselves in a lot of cases.
Exactly.
And that's the key here. I think Black women in the beginning, in the start, put themselves first. And
When was this that Black women ever put themselves
no, I'm
first?
saying that's what they need to do. I'm sorry, did I misspoke? I'm
Oh,
not
I
saying
thought you said in the beginning they were putting themselves first.
I think the way I worded my sentence was kind of off. But no, what I meant to say is Black women need to put themselves first, from the start.
Mhm.
And when I've been listening to YouTube and as I've been learning as I go, I understand why Black women divest. Because back in the day, my way of thinking is men are good and bad in all groups, and there's good Black men, good white men, good every, and I kind of took it for granted that men are just good across the board. Okay, that's really a lie, but I had that thought process, right? And I remember starting my channel and talking about interracial marriage, talking about my life, my wife, and then I started listening to divestment channels. Okay, what's divestment? That was a
Mhm.
new thing for me. I didn't understand it. I would listen and they would say, well, they would talk about things that are happening in their community. And I'll be honest, I would love to listen because they were talking how white men are doing better. And that's just a human thing. Like, oh, okay, I'm one of those guys. Yeah. But, but no, honestly, I would listen and I'm like, what's going on? And I would look back and stuff I've seen in the past, stuff I've seen in my life, and it would resonate. I'm like, oh, yeah, you know what? Black men really aren't marrying the women in their community. I look at the Black men I grew up with, most of them aren't married. Wow. And I didn't really let it sink in because I'm, in my life with my marriage, my wife, my family. And the more I've listened, the more I seen, I understand why Black women divest. I understand because there's a lot of toxicity within the culture, within the community, to where and I look at the dangers too with the Black femicide. Of course, it's a good idea for Black women to a lot of times get out of that culture, get out of that mindset, get to a safe place and heal. Start loving yourself. Put yourself first. Treat yourself like the treasure you are. Okay? And I think it's, and I understand that. I'm starting to understand. I get it. And I'm seeing a thing here with divestment, and I've talked about investment, right? Swirl to investment. That that is something I say that I believe in. I believe in interracial dating to marriage. I believe Black women are the best option, and us as non-Black men, we need to seek out Black women, and we need to open up our options because they are the best option to where we could do better and help them be better also. It goes both ways. And I think an investor and a divester, a man that's invested in Black women and a woman that's divested, we can come together. Okay, I know divestment it ain't about just interracial dating, right? Some people say for some women it's not about that at all. I get it. But there are times that we have we're kind of like allies. Like we see the same things, and if we have love for black women and we see what they're going through, why couldn't we make a connection in the collective as investors to divestors? Does that make sense? Because divestment, you're leaving the community, you're leaving that mindset, the culture. Well, us as investors, the things we love black women, and we're not trying to change who we are or get out of our community. We just want a black woman with us because we see her as the best option when it comes to marriage. Makes sense? But that's what I see, and I support divestment channels more now than ever. And I'll even donate to these channels. Some I don't even go on. I just send them a few bucks and say, you know what? I like what they're doing. And it's, I don't know, maybe shadow support, you might say. But the thing of it is when we move in and we're opening up our options, there are a lot of people in different categories. There are people that are swirling that, okay, they're going to give it a shot to interracially date. Maybe they found love. Maybe the woman that divested gets with the non-black man that loves black women and it works. You know, but so I do support those channels, and people say, why do you support that? They just hate black men. No, they want a better option. And maybe some of them are angry at black men because they've been run through the coals. They've been exploited. They've been taken advantage of. I get it. I would be mad too. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. But, I think black women take it at a divestor man mindset, right? Put yourself first. Get to a better place. Okay? Heal. And you know what? You're the prize. You know you're the prize. Be the prize. Put yourself first. It's about you. It's not about the community anymore. It's not about the group of men or any group of men. It's about you. And when you love yourself and you put yourself first and you're totally healed, then you could really love a man that loves you and have an awesome relationship, a beautiful marriage, have a family. I always said that I believe it's better if you date interracially to date a woman that's divested than a woman that just swirls. I think she'll love you more. I don't know. Am I wrong? I believe that though. And you know what? I think my wife's divested and don't even know it. When she married me, she said, I'm done with the culture and that BS. And she told me that back in the day. And we've been married 29 years. She said, I dated them and that it didn't work. And I found out, you know what? I opened my options and I'm gone. And black women, there have always been black women that have divested through time. They just didn't have a name for it back then. But you know what? Talking to my wife, it's like I'm talking to a divester. Serious. Like, wow. But you know who the biggest divestors are? Are black men. The ones that complain about divestors the most. The ones that, will date and marry out Becky at a high rate, right? And tell you that's their preference. But the crazy thing about it is they're least successful when they open up their options. But black women, when you open up your options, your success rate skyrockets. And you know what it is? It's character. Black women, you have it. I'm just saying. Sorry, guys. I'm getting winded.
Well, Brent, I've enjoyed the panel. I'm gonna drop down because it's getting late and my melatonin is kicking in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to end this soon. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on, Lady T. It's always a pleasure talking to you. You always have good points, and I mean, just listen to you. I'm learning. I'm just like, I mean, yeah.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed the show. And if I catch you on another live, I'll come up. Have a good night, Brent and Alexander.
Okay, you too, Lady T. Have a good night. And then Alexander, my brother, you hit awesome points too. And you know what? I mean, you're the diamond. Okay. So Alexander, he's the diamond in the rough. He, man of character. But what would you like to say before I close, Alexander? And
Yeah,
hey, man, I'll catch your show tomorrow. I'll try to come on. I got a lot of stuff to do, but I will be listening. I might come on my phone. Um, I do want to hit one of your lives up, and I've been super busy. And me and my wife just celebrated our 29th wedding anniversary, so you know, but yeah. But you said 12. Is that Eastern time, Alexander?
yep.
Okay, 12
Mm-hmm.
Eastern. Okay, so that's 10 o'clock my time. So that's early for me. Okay, yeah, I'll check you out. I'll listen in, and you know, but I do listen to your shows. I listen to the replays a lot because you know, but yeah, I'll be listening. I'm going to try to come on if you want me to come on. If you say no, don't come on, then I'll just listen. But yeah, but yeah, I'll check out your show. And guys, check out Alexander's channel. Alexander has a good channel. This guy, he loves black women and he sticks up for black women. And we need more men sticking up for black women. We need more men, you know, speaking out for black women. You know what? We're not speaking as black women, we can't do that, but we can show black women love and we can talk about things that are done to black women that aren't right. And you know what? If we love black women, we need to stand up for black women. We need to love black women. We need to treat black women like the treasure they are. And that's all men. We need to do this. But anyway, Alexander, um, you have anything you want to say before I wrap this up?
I want to say that Brent, yeah, again, um, I will be supporting you, you know, and like I'm a brother to you, you're also a brother to me, and I would also like to say that black women do not fall for the black, do not keep falling for the black love, um, for the black love. Um, I would say do not keep falling for the black love um, play that black men have out here. Because the thing of it is that the women who are with non-black men are actually happy in their relationships. And I know that and the thing of it is, it has to do with character. And I'm going to say this, most black men do not have character. And I would say open up your options. And when you get with a man that loves you, do not push him aside for the pro-black stuff, because it hasn't helped black women in the long run. It hasn't helped. And I think that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Good points, Alexander. Yeah, you're a brother to me too, bro. And big love to you. Keep being that diamond in the rough, that shining light. We need more men uplifting black women. Black women are the best option. They shouldn't be the least protected. They should be the most protected for what they do for us, what they give in society and our nation. And every time I see a black woman unalived, I see another woman. I see our national treasure being taken away from us. I do. Black women, you give us so much in our country and our communities. You give so much. You're in our churches. You're women of faith. You're in the medical field. You're taking care of people that are sick and injured. You're killing it in the corporate world. You're showing us love, black women. And you know what? Most black women will show you love regardless of your race. Black women are really loving women. And I could say truly, I've given my heart to black women back in 1974 when I was 5 years old. And people will laugh and say, oh, okay, whatever, that's cute. But no, it's true, because I felt the love. And it started with the babysitter I had. It started with black women in church. Black women have had an impact on my faith and the path I've chosen in my life. I'm a Christian, and black women have led me to that. Okay? So, black women, you have a big impact on this white man's life that grew up in the white community with the white family in the white neighborhood. But you know what? The one that loved me the most and had the most impact on my life is black women. And I love you for it. And you are a blessing to me. And anytime I say good things about you or express my love for you, I love doing it, and you deserve hearing it, because you are the best. You are the most beautiful. You are the real treasure. Ladies, put yourself first. It's about you. When you wake up in the morning, make it about you. Love yourself. You are a treasure more than you'll ever know. You're God's masterpiece. When God created the black woman, he created a masterpiece. And you know what? Just know that and live for you. Make it about you. You've already done everything for everybody else. You already put everybody first. It's time to put yourself first. And, me and Alexander, it's our job to put you first. And you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to put you first. And I know my brother Alexander is going to do it also. But anyway, ladies, but tonight's message, I know it was a sad news story I covered, but it needs to be covered. And you know what? Be careful out there, ladies. Okay? Be strategic. Put yourself first. And I'm going to go ahead and close. But ladies, you are the prize. You are the treasure. It's about you. Make it about you. But anyway, thank you for coming on tonight, Alexander. It was a pleasure. Lady T, thank you so much for coming on. And everybody in the chat, thank you so much. I love you guys. And thank you for the kind words that you shared with me and my wife, Sandy. and showing us love on our 29-year wedding anniversary. You know, I look, when I start talking about my wife, I get emotional. I do. Because I have so much love for her. And God has blessed me so much. And I know I don't deserve to have my wife, but I do, and I'm thankful. And you know, I just but anyway, thank you for coming up. Alexander, I'll see you on your show tomorrow, brother. You take care. Get you some rest and don't work too hard on YouTube. I see you going live a lot. Make sure you get rest. And I know you're a hardworking man also. So, you know, make sure you're getting plenty of rest, okay? But
All right. Yeah,
and you
yeah, yeah. I'm off on the weekends.
oh, okay.
Uh, yeah, and the moment I have a chance, I will be working for myself. I'm still thinking about still getting into the business of of the manga business. I'll be doing stories from at home, but I'm hoping that because again, I'm bad when it comes to creating characters. So if if they come out looking like stick people, then you'll know that it's me. But I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna work on it. Um, yeah, and I will be careful. Like I'm gonna do a live after the day. I'm gonna do one for Friday. Or
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the reason I say that is because I've gotten wrapped up in the YouTube so much that I was doing lives and then going to work in the morning and you know, I got so wore out, I passed out in the shower, um, hit my head, I was bleeding, my wife freaked out. And what it was a lack of sleep, not getting proper rest. Um, you know, my diet was horrible because I was just eating and going. And so a combination of things. And it's easy to get caught up in this YouTube because we love doing it. We love, you know, doing our channel and I love it. You know, but you know, and we love lifting up black women and talking about, you know, black women doing better, opening up their options. And you know, that's really a beautiful thing when we uplift black women and then they show us love. We feel really good, right? Um and it's I'm hooked on that. But we got to take care of ourselves, our bodies, we got to rest. And you know, I'm not saying you're not taking care of yourself, but I didn't take care of me. And I pushed myself to the limits. And you know, I could have fell asleep on the road going to work. And you know, that was a wake up call. I had to take less hours at work. I had to go from, you know, I was working like 60-hour weeks. I had to go back to 40 and just do, you know, and you know, YouTube, I had to spread it out a little bit. Do it when I have days off. And you see me a lot this weekend because I have a 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that's why you see me a lot. And I made a deal with my wife where if I won't do it live unless I got the next day off. And that's fair. And she's looking out for my safety. So I agreed to that. And but Alexander, I love you, brother. I know you're doing good things. You're fighting the good fight. Um, you know, keep doing what you're doing, but take care of yourself also. Okay. And I thank you for coming on. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And but you have a good night, okay? And
Uh,
I'll see you tomorrow.
You too. Be safe, and everyone in the chat, be safe also.
Yes. Yeah. Be safe. And ladies and gentlemen, I love you. Thank you for being part of this show tonight. Thank you for your love and support. Um, you know, thank you for the love and support from me and my wife Sandy. Um, and look, Swirl to Investment, that, to me, that's what I'm about. Interracial dating to marriage. Okay. And, the swirl is a beautiful thing. It's a good thing if you do it right, if you swirl right, right? And, I made that slogan, Swirl to Investment, meaning interracial dating to marriage, because I've always loved Black women and I dated Black women. I swirled, right? But I took my swirl to a whole new level. I took my swirl to investment. So when I talk about investment, that's what it means. And Black women, white men, or Black women and other non-Black men, when we invest, that means marriage. That's the biggest investment you'll ever make. The most important is marriage. I believe that. My wealth that I have today, a lot of it, most of it's because I got a good wife that supports me. She loves me. And, you know, that investment is giving me true love, a good family. It's created wealth for me because my wife supports me in what I do. She has faith in me, so I work hard, and she appreciates what I do for her, and she always has my back. She's always there for me, and so when I look at that, gosh, I am so blessed in so many ways, and our marriage 29 years, and the years are flying by. And you know what? Me and my wife will be the ones that have the matching walkers. We'll have our names on it, and we'll have matching walkers, and we'll walk around the neighborhood limping around with a smile on our face because we're in love, and we're embracing that one more day we have. We're embracing. You know what? We're getting old. We're barely getting there, but we love each other. And as long as we got life on this earth, we'll love each other. And then even when our life's gone, we'll wait for each other in heaven. Yeah, that's what it's all about. There's a couple in my neighborhood that walks around with walkers. That's where I got that idea. Or he'll have his cane and he holds his wife's hand and they barely walk around. They're real old. But God, you could see the love they have for each other. It's such a beautiful thing. But that's me and Sandy in the future. It is. And that's what I want to promote. I think Black women are the most beautiful women, the most loving women. And, a lot of men like me love Black women, and we want to be with you. We want to share our life with you. I always thought Black women were the most amazing women when I was a boy. I grew up praying for a Black woman for a wife. I did. That's how much I love you. And it goes deep. And you've shown me what true love is, how to give love and how to receive it. And Black women, make sure you give your love to the right man, the one that deserves you, that's going to love you and protect you, provide for you. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about tonight. Thank you for tonight's show. Thank you. I will have a prayer meeting tomorrow. I don't know what time yet, but it will be tomorrow, probably in the evening. I'll post it as soon as I get some free time. I got my son home, my daughter, the whole family's here. So we got activities we're doing. We got church tomorrow. So my prayer meeting, I will have it. I don't know what time yet. So Alexander, I'm going to try to catch his show at noon Eastern time. And then later on that evening, I'll have a prayer meeting. And I want to just reflect on things. And I don't know what topic, but I'm going to pray about it. And, we'll have that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support, your love. And look, I just love doing this. And like I said, I don't deserve my wife, but I don't deserve to have you following me. I don't. You are a blessing to me. And, as a man being flawed and having my shortcomings, I just want you to know my heart. And I want you to know that I love you guys, ladies and gentlemen. I do. And sometimes there's a method to my madness, but there's a reason. Okay. And if any time you have a question why I do something or say something, you email me. I'll explain it to you. But anyway, guys, you have a good night. God bless you and your families. And I'm going to try to have a Discord meeting tomorrow, too. We haven't been on Discord for a while, but I'm going to try to have a meeting on Discord, too, to just kind of share with you guys what I'm doing with the channel, the new programming, what you think. I would love your input. So if you want to, I'll put out a time for Discord tomorrow. Okay. But like I said, my time's up in the air. But we'll do the prayer meeting and Discord tomorrow. But oh, thank you so much. I really love you too, guys. I do. And look, ladies, know how precious and beautiful you are. And you know what? Give your love to a man that deserves it. One that you love that loves you. And you know what? That's what you should do, ladies. Put yourself first. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Swirl to Investment. See you soon. Love you guys. Have a good night.